Hey, what's good, fam? Welcome to another episode of the Feed Me, Fuel Me podcast. Darius and Jeff coming at you with Matt KAFORA. What's up, brother?
How we doing?
Real good.
Man. How you feeling, dog?
Very
Dude,
good.
appreciate you making the time. We know that you're super busy. We watched you crush it on stage at the GSD conference. Shout out to Mike RC for putting that on.
Absolutely.
And putting us in your presence.
Oh, thank you.
Your presentation with Amanda was just on point with regards to, I guess, really the art of scaling.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you've got seven locations with Orange Theory.
Yep.
And as a byproduct of the 7 locations, you've been forced to diversify into other entrepreneurial ventures.
I have, yeah.
Dog training one on
Who'd have thought,
accident.
right? Yeah.
But what I gather from your presentation at GSDCon is that, you know, the tenets of scaling an Orange Theory versus scaling a dog training company or the in-home hospital stuff that you're doing now, the tenets are pretty much the same.
Man, you could scale a candy store with the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, and that's truly it. So, right, so I thrive in systems.
Okay.
Everyone does. Right? There's freedom in structure.
Right.
Okay. So when people know what to do, when you know how to do it, and you can systematically repeat things, as long as you do it successfully, you're able to just replicate over and over and over again.
Right.
You know, and that's how Orange Theory started with me. You know, I opened my first location, and we kind of talked about it. You know, and it was okay. You know, but it was a burn the boat situation.
Yeah.
You know,
Dive into that real quick.
Yeah,
I want you to lead with that.
Yeah. Okay.
because-
So yeah, I mean, it was legit burn the boat. So I had been in the fitness space for my entire career prior to that. That's all I knew. That's all I did. I had grown and scaled, other businesses, developed people, developed teams, hit goals, set records, did really well for someone else.
Yeah.
And in that time, I had my son. Awesome, really cool, things that you remember. Unfortunately, in that time, I lost about 18 months of his life, being in that space.
That's tough.
He was born on May 30th. There's 31 days in May. 31st is closeout, man. Get back to work.
Yep.
And I was like, damn, that's rough.
Yeah.
Right? But it was kind of like, hey, you need to be back at work. Tomorrow's closeout. So it's really cool. Congratulations. But
Hit the ground running.
numbers. And I'm like, damn. I've been number one for like 18 months straight, right? Can I have a day? Well, I mean, you can, but someone else might take your spot. Right? I'm like, come on. So I went back to work.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
sleeping in a hospital chair that night. And I'm like, okay, cool. Hey, I'll be right back. But when I got
Maybe.
the call from my wife at the time, it was like, hey, I just wrapped up the doctor, and they're telling me I need to go to the hospital right now. They're going to induce labor. My blood pressure's really high, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, I got to close this deal real fast.
No shit.
Good news, I wrote an $8,000 deal.
Right.
So I closed the deal
Yeah.
and then went to the hospital. So I felt better about things, and I didn't miss anything. Obviously, she was in labor for a while, but whatever.
Yeah.
But I missed, a good 18 months of his life being at work and being a slave to someone else. And that was hard for me, man, right?
Yeah.
Like looking back, I'm like, those aren't months or days or events that I can get back.
Right.
So how do I get out of this space? How do I, provide for my family? How do I, build the life that I want? How do I help others build the lives they want, but afford myself the freedoms and the opportunities to never have to, miss anything,
Yeah.
So I got into Orange Theory. That was cool. I took one workout.
Yeah.
I'm a big dude.
Yeah.
That is not my space. I'm like, what do you mean cardio? I walk on a treadmill when I'm dieting.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. We gotta walk fast, and we're gonna do intervals, and we're gonna do inclines. And I'm kind of like, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
You guys have an AED? Okay, good.
Yeah.
This is very good. So I took one workout, and I chatted with some of the other owners at the time. And Orange Theory was in its infancy stages then. I mean, it's grown a lot in the last 6 or 7 years.
Sure.
Back then it was in its infancy stages.
Yeah.
My first license is store number 72 in the network.
Whoa.
Okay.
We're up over 1,300 locations right now.
Yeah.
So if that puts it into perspective on how much Orange Theory as a whole is
Right.
scaled, I mean, like I said, number 72 versus 1,300 right now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Ground
that's
floor.
insane. So, the systems and the strategies and the support from the network just wasn't quite there.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock or a dig. It new.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
So, I decided, okay, I'm doing this. Right, we got to do it. So I scraped together everything that I had saved. Decided I'm going to leave my guaranteed income. I was doing very well in the fitness space, making great money, providing for my family. Again, working long hours, but I got to do this.
Yeah.
Borrowed money, took out an SBA loan, put up my house as collateral.
That's all in.
Burn the boats, man. Right.
Yeah.
So, like I said, that's it. Like, there's no turning back. So I did it. Hired my team. I was the first member of my team, right? And I wore 27 hats. I'm like, okay, I got to sell memberships. I got to do marketing. I got to train staff. I got to train coaches. I got to scrub toilets. I got to do this. I got to do that. And it's kind of like, that's what we got to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't have the income to support the payroll that I do now.
Infrastructure.
I didn't have that ability to grow my infrastructure yet.
Right.
And I had one location, so I don't need, 20 employees. I don't need, 10 employees.
Right.
But if I can do the job of 6 of them, no, I'm going to try.
Yeah.
So sure as shit, I did.
Yep.
And so we made that move and opened with 185 members. For all intensive purposes, that's kind of failing. Based on, okay, well, I have this for rent and this for payroll and this for, man, this is like I'm barely making it at that point. 185 members, it doesn't pay the bills.
Sure.
So I actually brought in my regional manager currently. We worked together. He's actually the one that got me into the fitness space, oddly enough, right? So I was working at the gym when I was 17 years old, and he's like, hey, you look like you know what you're doing. You're in good shape. People talking to you. You're giving people some assistance. Why don't you come get a job in this space? Man, this is a great idea. Let me do that. Yeah. So come full circle, like I said, he came back and was working for me at that time. And he helped grow that business from 185 members to up over 850 members.
What was the difference? What did he change?
So him and I worked together, and we had both been in the space for a long time.
Yep.
We worked together, and we just put the right people in place.
Okay.
So like my coaching team was freaking fantastic, because the cool thing is, right? So the product is the product, the workout is the workout. Working out for all intents and purposes sucks for most people.
Right.
It's painful, it's hard, you get sweaty. By the time Mrs. Jones decides she wants to come in, she's 40 pounds overweight. Well, I don't know if I can walk around the block without falling over. Don't judge me. Don't look at me weird. There's a whole bunch of fit people. Man, it sucks, right? It's hard for people to get in there. So we have to put the right people in place to deliver the experience to A, make it comfortable for members, B, get them results, and on top of that, make them want to come back.
Yes.
So we put the right people in place, and I had some of the most fantastic trainers who were able to deliver a product. So Orange Theory at the time was new to market in the West Valley.
Okay.
I opened the very first West Valley location. They were here out in, Scottsdale was the first location, and then kind of went a little bit further south into Chandler, Gilbert, all those places. But first West Valley location, people were kind of like, what is Orange Therapy? Is this where I get a smoothie? And I'm like, oh man, this is not where we get smoothies.
Right.
But here's what we're going to do. And of course, I'm outside pre-selling memberships. So I got a little easy up tent out there. It's the middle of the summer. My store opened in August, so it's like May, June, July. And I'm like dripping sweat. And I'm like, Mrs. Jones, you ever thought about changing your life? Sweat's pouring off me. She's kind of like, I was just trying to walk into Macy's across the street. And I'm like, that's really cool. What about changing your life? And she's like, okay.
Full Tony Robbins looking
that
status.
Didn't go well, right?
Beating.
I was like, okay. But no, so we brought the team on and, hired the right coaches and really, really got people who cared.
Sure.
That was kind of that was one of the biggest things, really establishing kind of core values and what was important to me and what was important to the business. And, here's what the core values are and here's what we're going to hire around. And obviously those have changed over the years and kind of evolved and things. But that's what we hired around. That's what we, rewarded around. That's what we reprimanded around. I think I told you guys at GSDCon, back in my previous life, holding those core values, and I imparted that into my team so strongly that I walked into one of my trainer meetings that I was holding. I hold every Monday, 3:00, come hell or high water, I have my trainer meeting.
Yep.
I walk in there, and I'm kind of like, hey, where's Billy at? Oh, we fired him. I have a room of 15 trainers, and yeah, we fired him. What do you mean you fired Billy? Yeah, well, Matt, he just he wasn't good for our team, and he wasn't really aligning with us, so we let him go. at this point, I didn't know if I should be happy. Right? I'm like, I'm so proud of you on the inside. But I'm like, I'm so mad. I don't know what to feel right now. I'm like, I'm mad. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Good job. Don't do that. You guys can't do this. What
jump
about
the
the
chain of
clients? Right? So I'm like, I'm so confused right now. I'm standing up in front of this meeting, and I'm kind of like, I don't know what to feel right now.
Yeah.
But I think I'm happy. Right? So we fired him. He wasn't good for us. He didn't fit, what we were doing, what we're building here, the energy, the culture, the core. So we had to let him go. Don't worry, we took care of the clients, and everything's good now. So yeah, we're ready for the meeting.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Okay, right? So I didn't realize at the time that there wasn't line item core values and let's look at this and here's what we're really working on. But looking back to that, that's exactly what that was. Is
Absolutely.
I imparted to my team what the important things were, who we were, what we were looking to deliver to our clients and our members, and that's what they were so laser focused on. That anyone that didn't fit that mold, you can't be here, man. I'm sorry, but you can't be here.
Right.
I was proud of them.
Sure.
So that's what, we've evolved and grown into. And like I said, hiring those right people to go ahead and do that.
Okay.
So like I said, 185 members, up over 850 to where I was losing people.
Yeah.
They wanted to come in, tomorrow after they joined. And I'm like, no. How's next Tuesday?
Yeah.
No, I need to come in tomorrow. Yeah. How's next Tuesday? I can't get you in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Of course, then it's a disservice to my clients. So what's
Right.
cool is my revenue peaked. I was doing really, really well. It was the #1 store in the state at the time. And people were kind of like, wow, what the hell are you doing out there? And I'm like, we're servicing our members. We're getting outside marketing. We're asking for referrals. We're delivering results. We're delivering all the promises we deliver. It's clean. It's this. Everything you should be delivering, right?
Right.
It peaked, and it started falling.
Yeah.
Of course, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I'm like, holy shit, this is a problem.
Sure.
I'm patting myself on the back at the same time. I'm like, I filled my studio. Shit, I'm losing money, right? My members are mad. Legitimately, like I'm charging you $159 a month, and I'm like, hey, you can't actually use what you're paying for.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Ouch.
And they're like, this doesn't work for me, right?
Right.
So I was forced to open location number 2, and I was forced to open it really, really fast. And that location's done really, really well. And everyone thought I was crazy for opening that location because it's so far out. But I'm like, no, I know what the growth is going to be out there.
Yeah.
That's out by Lake Pleasant.
Okay.
So the cross streets are Lake Pleasant, Happy Valley. You two, I don't know how familiar you are with the West Valley, but you're kind of like, where's that at?
Yeah.
Right.
No, we were that's Happy Valley is up where GSDCon was.
Yeah, we're right.
Yeah, now go way west.
Holy shit.
Way west. It took me 30 minutes to get there from my house, and I live about 5 minutes from there.
Yeah.
So it's way west. Like I said, if you've ever been to Lake Pleasant, it's literally 11 minutes from Lake Pleasant.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's way out there. And people kind of like, there's a lot of dirt out here and not that many houses, right? And I'm like, I'm talking to Mike and working with, Loud Rumor at the time. And, they're looking at, my digital marketing stuff. And he's kind of like, so normally we look at like a 3-mile radius for marketing. There's like 7 people. We should probably look at like a 12-minute drive time.
Yeah.
But I think you're kind of crazy for putting this here. And I'm like, I know, me too. And now it's killing it.
Yeah.
It was killing it then. My trainers that I brought on then, talk about hiring the right people. Those people have been with me since that store opened.
Yeah.
So we're talking 5 or 6 years, and in the fitness space, that's unheard of for that kind of retention.
100%.
And that's just not what happens in this space. People are looking for the latest and greatest. What's greener? I got to move here, do this. Whatever reason they're jumping and leaving.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've had these trainers there for 5 or 6 years. It's people that I've known in the fitness space, for a lot of my career.
Yeah.
It's funny. One of my trainers out there was there when my son was born. And it's so funny. I met her son when he was 6 or 7 years old.
Sure.
He now works for me at one of my other locations.
Yeah.
No kidding.
And I'm like, man, do I feel old. Right? I'm like the oldest 33-year-old there is. And I'm like, I can't even imagine. I'm like, I saw this kid when he was 6, and I'm now signing his paychecks.
You went from Uncle Matt to boss.
Right? Yes, sir. I'm like, man, who is this? So really cool. But like I said, she saw my son, when he's an infant. Now she sees him, she's like, you're a small man. And I'm like, yeah. It's really cool.
Sure.
So, talk about hiring the right people, keeping them on, taking care of them. Like I said, they've been with me for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
Dude, where'd you develop that skill set for scalability and building systems? Because that's a tough thing to do. Is it innate to who you are, or how'd you build that out?
Yeah, so I was an Air Force brat, so I grew up around systems and structure. And things go like this, and this is how they are, and this is the reason, and this is why, and like most people, I need to know the why.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
What's in it for me sort of thing. But I see the why and I see the successes, and, school came easy because of it, and I didn't study from it, and, things were just done how they were done. So it worked. So, yeah, I guess there's some innate ability to it. And I'll be honest, from a lot of failures, from trial and error sort of thing. And it's kind of like, let's try this. Okay, that doesn't work. Once we find this, I'm like, cool, I found this. I've tried 6 things that didn't work.
Yep.
This is what works. Let me see, I can do this again. And I can do it again, and I can do it again, and I can do it again, to where, I have a manager file, in every one of my locations. It's SOPs. Kind of like, cool, Monday, here's your Facebook post. Here's the exact calls you're making. Here's your scripts. And this was before we had the support from the network. Fast forward 6 or 7 years, and now there's a lot of support from the network. But had I not done that myself 6 or 7 years ago,
Right.
I don't know where I'd be. So yeah, there's some innate ability and a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
I failed a lot of times.
Sure.
It's kind of like, this doesn't work. Wish try again.
Right.
That also didn't work. Kind of not so good at this, right? And I'm like, third, fourth, this works. We're using it forever.
Right.
And of course there's some evolution to that too, and changing it over. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, that's how it worked, man.
That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah.
Shit.
And
Yeah, you have to.
I think that it's extremely important to point out how many things didn't work before you got to the things that did.
Yeah,
And
it wasn't easy.
I don't think people give that enough credit.
Right.
Like that's part of the game of entrepreneurship, is just trial and error, trying this, trying
100%.
that, sticking with that,
Yep.
getting rid of it when it doesn't work anymore. The opposite side of that coin is hanging on to shit for too long.
Yeah. Whether it's
know?
employees, whether it's systems, whether, and some of those things are hard moves. I cut one of my employees who'd been with me for a while, was just really, really, really killing it.
Yeah.
In one of my best stores. And she was a little bit cancerous. And I'm like, man, I have 7, studio managers. I have 7 head coaches. My management team is 14, 15 people deep.
Yep.
They all have their teams underneath them. She's killing it. And I'm like, at what point does the revenue not matter? At what point is it like, okay, this is eventually going to be cancerous to me, and that was a really, really hard decision. And even to this day, it's hard for me to think about, but it's one of those things. It's cut off the limb to save the life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey man, it sucks.
Yeah.
It was a really hard decision. Business hurt from it for a little bit.
Sure.
It's obviously bounced back since, but it hurt from it for a little bit. And the team was kind of like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah. But it didn't work. She was cancerous to the team, to the point where she was spinning other managers out, and I was kind of like, I can't have that. Like, your cancer can't spread from your store to other locations. And I have all of a sudden the staff that wants to mutiny if I let that keep going. So I'm like, yeah,
absolutely.
it's a tough thing, but like I said, definitely, trial and error and cutting things that don't work anymore. And it's like, unfortunately that was one of the things that didn't work anymore.
Yeah.
It was a tough one, man.
Sure. And it sounds like you've had a really good run with mentorship since almost the beginning. That dude pulling you off the floor, bringing you into the industry, that recognition of talent, right? And then when is it a byproduct of your folks, your parents, or when did you become aware of the proactive seeking of mentorship?
I'd say through my parents, man. Honestly, yeah. That's really what stemmed it all. Like I said, I was the Air Force brat, so this is how it works.
Right.
This is why you do this, and this is what we're doing, and we're gonna hold you to high standards. I remember being in school, and other kids would get $20 or $5 or whatever it was for getting A's, and it was kind of like, we were expected to.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, okay. I mean, you guys know,
Right.
military brats, and it's kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool. These are the expectations. Like, you're expected to go do your job well. Do you know what happens if I don't do my job well? People lose money. People lose lives. People lose,
Yeah.
You're expected to do your job well. This is your job. Go do it. Okay. And I impart that to my son now, too. And I'm like, awesome, man. You got good grades. High five.
Yeah. You don't get
Do it again
reward.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? Like the
Nobody
reward
writes-
comes later in life,
Yeah,
my friend.
exactly.
You know, and that's kind of how that works. So, yeah, I mean, that's really where kind of it all stemmed from.
Yeah. Nobody writes awards for the things that you're supposed to do.
Right.
It's true. It's true, dude. So you're a first generation entrepreneur, right? In your family?
Yeah.
I think that's important to highlight, man, because, people hear your story and see where you are now.
Yeah.
And they'll look like, oh, he was given this, or he comes from a family of affluence. But you were talking a little bit off the mic. You don't come from an affluent background.
Yeah,
How did
no.
you develop that mindset to even cut the limb off behind you? Because that's a fearful thing to do, man.
Yeah, like I said, it's a burn the boat thing. I'm a terrible employee. I'll be the first one to tell you that. Man, I'm terrible. Right? They're like, Matt, I need you here at this time, and I'm like, ooh, yeah. I actually don't sleep, so how about I'm there at 4 o'clock in the morning instead of 9 o'clock? Because most of my day's done by 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
No, your schedule's 8 o'clock. That doesn't actually work for me. I'm actually going to pass on that one.
Yeah.
Matt, we need it done like this. Well, that way's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I was
Yeah.
the kid in school that was like, that's wrong. Matt, it's not wrong. It is. Let me show you the book. It's wrong. You did this
Yeah.
wrong.
Uh-huh.
They're like, have a seat, kid. Sorry. Right. So I'm a terrible employee. I'm the same way. I'm like, I think we could do this better if it's like this. How about you sit down because this is how it is? And I'm like, yeah, but it's wrong.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just a terrible employee, to be honest. Like I said, I don't think I could ever get back out into the workforce and work for somebody. That's a very hard thing for me to do after all these years. And I'm like, okay. So, I mean, I can abide by rules. I can do the whole thing. But like at the end of the day, I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I think that what I can do is pretty dang good.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
like, let me keep doing this,
Yeah, because we have a lot of conversations, just like Max and I, Durs and I, and like you hear people who are, interested in becoming entrepreneurs, but they're not committed, burning the boat and just leaving everything behind because they have the safety net to fall on.
Yeah.
And they don't take that jump. So it's just like, if you're just tiptoeing, you're never going to make it.
Nope.
Well, and that's in anything.
Sure.
Right? Whether it's entrepreneurship, relationships, life, like you tiptoe anywhere, you're going to get tiptoe results. So it's like you either go run through the wall and see what's on the other side.
Yep.
Or if you just kind of feel it out, it's like, I don't know what's over there, man.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So, same thing. It's a light switch for me,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
It is 100% all in or it is not. And that's it. It doesn't go anywhere else. But I think a lot of people are either entrepreneurs at heart or they're not. I don't know if you can ever say like, I think I want to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
Then you're a wantrepreneur. Right? Like, I want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
What does that even mean to you? Like, well, I want to work for myself. What do you want to do? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Oh, so I can set my own schedule. That's one of the benefits.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Right.
Right. But my schedule still is whatever my team needs,
100.
whatever
There
the
you go.
business dictates, right? I'm pushing, I don't know, I have, quite a few businesses now, and it's kind of like, if I have something that is 911 at 3 o'clock in the morning, guess what?
Game on.
I'm up. I'm
Yeah.
up. I'm rocking. I'm moving, and let's make it happen.
Yeah.
If I'm not off my phone until 10:30 that night, so be it.
Right.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
Then I'm off my phone, but that doesn't mean the business day is done.
Right.
I'm sitting in my office, I got my whiteboard in the corner. I'm plotting this, think about that. Let's plan this. Let's do that.
Yep.
And it's it doesn't stop.
Sure.
So it's not as glamorous as
Right.
as everyone leads it to believe and
yeah.
thinks that it may be.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
The behind the scenes stuff, right?
Well, it's interesting that you bring up the relationship piece, right? Your inner circle.
Yeah.
Not just your other half, your spouse, your girlfriend, whatever.
Sure.
I can remember when we were coming up to the end of our first lease.
Yeah.
And I had a very honest conversation with my wife. I'm like, I can get out and we can go do something else. Like you've held up your end. You let me have
Thank you.
my
Right.
5-year plan, So, what do you want now? And she looked me dead in my face and she was like, you cannot work for anyone else.
You're the same
Keep
person
going.
I am, man. You're a terrible employee.
Re-up. Let's go.
You have to, right? You're not allowed because you're going to get fired.
Yeah.
I like the steady income. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
No, I hear you.
Yeah. And that's extremely rare
Oh, it is.
in this space.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs that we've interviewed that, as they were getting the ball rolling, ended up it was great. They were whatever relationship they were in, whatever best friends they had
Sure.
were awesome when everybody was 9 to 5 bitching about their boss.
Yep.
But when you become your own boss and you're the only one that you can complain about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
This guy sucks.
Yeah.
Like pointing yourself in the mirror. It's like, man.
You have to strategically change your circle.
Your team
Right.
always
You know?
changes. It has to evolve, right? You know,
Yeah.
I keep a super, super tight circle. You know, I don't let many people in. There's not a lot of trust that gets handed out.
Absolutely.
You know, you keep it tight, and yeah, you're right. It's funny, you know, when you first start, and it's kind of like, okay, yeah, everyone's cool. We have a lot of friends, and then yeah, as you start to kind of hobbit yourself away, and you're hibernating, and you're up late and up early, and can't do this and won't do that, and choose this over that, and it's kind of like, okay, well, those friends that you used to have are long gone now, you know. But it's funny because when things start to grow and success starts to come a little bit more. Those are the first ones that are like, hey, Matt, how are you? And I'm like, I'm really good. Why is your hand out when you're asking me how I am? Right? But like, oh, I have this business idea. And I'm like, I bet you do. Good luck with it.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think? I don't think about it.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Well, what do you think of it? I don't think about it at all.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, the circle just tightens up more and more and more. And it's
When you moved into the consulting space, because it's one thing, like as a trainer, like you have a service to give, right?
Sure.
So hours for dollars, you got that, right? When you moved into the consulting space and you had to start putting value on your time,
sure.
Matt's time, right? How'd that conversation go?
I'll be honest, I think it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It truly is, because as a trainer, even in the fitness space, you're selling an idea. I'm not selling you a tangible product. I'm not saying here's a water bottle, right? You get to hand me money in exchange for goods. This is a relational transaction. I'm selling a service. I'm selling a hope and a dream. It's going to require work from you. So it's the same principle, whether I'm training clients or whether I'm helping CEOs grow and scale businesses.
Right.
At the same day, it's truly the same at the end of the day, because I'm saying, okay, I will give you the tools necessary.
Right.
I can be with you for a certain amount of time. I cannot be with you 24/7. I cannot feed you 24/7. I cannot control what you're doing outside the gym. I can't control what you say to your team. I can't control the work that you put in. At the end of the day, I can provide the framework. I can provide all the systems in the world. I can teach you how to run those systems. I can give you all of the support that I can give you. You have to innately be able to do this on your own as well. And those are the conversations that are had, and those are the tools provided, and those are the things that allow these other businesses to scale, is who can care as much as I care. And that's kind of what we talked about on why I moved out of the training space, because I was so excited to help people, as a trainer. I'm like, okay, I love fitness. I love results. I love helping people. But I loved helping people more than they loved helping themselves, And I was like, Mrs. Jones, why did you eat pizza last night? We just dropped 4 pounds last week. Well, no, I don't know. I don't know. Well, because I didn't have time to cook. You didn't have time to cook, or you chose not to make the time to cook.
Right.
Well, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Mrs. Jones, I love you, but you can't be my client anymore.
Right.
I fired clients.
Sure.
In both spaces. I can't help you.
Right.
I had a gentleman reach out, and wanted assistance with his business as well. And I'm like, cool, I need this, and this from you. Well, you never provided that. A month later, he reached out like, hey, I'm ready. And I'm like, that's cool. I can get you in touch with a lot of people.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not ready for you.
Sure.
You don't have the motivation and the drive that I do, and I cannot care more about your business than I do, because I feel like I'm going to fail you when your business fails.
Yeah.
But the reality is you're the one who's failing.
Sure. What's your first filter with the new client? Because I had a mentor of mine that I wanted to work with so bad. He's like, we can't talk about anything until you read the E-Myth.
Okay. I like the E-Myth. I'm a compound effect guy.
Okay.
That's a great book.
Love the compound
That's
effect.
a great book.
Anybody asks me what book should I read, I'm like, the compound effect.
Yeah.
Because it's applicable to every aspect in life.
Yeah.
You've read it, I'm sure. But it's life, it's relationships, it's work, it's fitness, it's everything. And it's truly just doing those little things, which is probably why it resonates so deeply with my systematic type brain, right? But doing those little things over and over and growing on it. And, I had a mentor one time, who said, just get 1% better.
Yeah.
In 100 days, you are now 100% better. And I'm like,
right.
As silly as that sounds, as stupid as it's kind of like, no shit. Yeah. That works.
Right.
Same with the compound effect. I love it, man.
Okay.
I absolutely love it.
So, that was his filter for me. But what's your first filter for clients?
I really think that's it. Is,
You do the
I'm-
book thing?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I love the books.
Got it.
I love the books, and I like to really kind of deep dive into their business too. Like, what are your core values? Like, what do you hold near and dear?
Right.
And whether that's personal core values, because a lot of times your personal core values align with your business core values.
Right.
But what are your core values? What do you truly give a shit about? In life, in business. Talk to me about that, because if I can know what you care about, man, I have it all.
Sure.
I can do anything with that, and so can you.
Right.
But if you truly don't know what those core values are, you're kind of just running the race with no finish line. And I'm like, cool, man, running's cool for you. Like, that's not me. That's
Right.
not it at all. But like, keep running. But to where, like, you're on the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Have at it.
Dude, as you've continued to grow and evolve and transform, you're in so many different businesses. Has your vision changed from like just being a fitness guy, or is it like, do you feel yourself like helping people in a broad spectrum across all industry? Like, how's that work for you? Because I know it's like, for me, for instance, like consulting, I was so dialed into the oil and gas industry, for instance, and then anything outside of that was beyond my scope.
Sure.
Is that similar for you, or do you have broad spectrum when it comes to working in different industries?
Yeah, for sure. So obviously it started in fitness.
Yeah.
And that's why I love the systems behind things, is because it doesn't matter if it's fitness, it doesn't matter if it's dog training, it doesn't matter if it's candy store.
Right.
You can implement these same practices through anything and across any industry, and I think it's able to apply anywhere. So no, it's not limited to just that. And like I said, it's the businesses have expanded and diversified into, like I said, dog training. I love that one. It's such a cool space. It's a $70 billion industry. Who'd have thought? Most people have one dog, have two dogs.
Right.
And then from there, it's like, well, you have all the millennials who, they don't want kids till later in life, but they'll spend a ton of money on their freaking dogs now.
Yeah.
I'm like, awesome. Or you have the baby boomers who have empty nests, and they're like, I need a child.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that's a German Shepherd. That's not a child. But okay, you can spend all the money you want with me. So, but really growing and scaling, it doesn't matter the industry. And same, with the consulting, it's like, I've talked to a lady who owns an aesthetics business. It's where I get my Botox done, right?
Yeah.
Call it Brotox.
Brotox.
I like that. Okay. I like that.
Makes you feel more manly about it, right? But talk to her, and she's like, help me. What can I do to grow and to scale, and how can I make this happen? How can I work on this? And it's like, cool. It doesn't matter. Like I said, fitness, dogs, aesthetics. It doesn't matter. We can work in any space.
Yeah.
And get you to your goals.
That's pretty cool to be that multifaceted, man. Because when you start seeing the inner workings of other companies in different industries,
Sure.
it broadens your horizons. You start, finding things that you may not have been interested in earlier. Like, I'm truly interested in this, like aesthetics or whatever it may be.
Well, even the dogs, man. Like I said, I love the dogs. Like I said, I've learned so much. The business side is cool. The business side is easy. Like I said, the business has grown and scaled, 10 times over.
Yeah.
From when that was acquired. And that's really cool. But it's a cool byproduct to learn the knowledge side of things behind that as well.
Yeah.
Just a really cool business. That doesn't mean that all businesses that I touch I want to know more about. But that one was cool.
Yeah.
That is pretty dope.
So yeah.
Dude, have you being a dad and seeing your son grow up and all that?
Yep.
How has that relationship transformed from being where you had zero money and like where you are now? How has that relationship developed over the years of starting with nothing and building to where you are now?
It's something. I think the goal as a parent is always you want to give more to your kids than you had, right?
Right.
And my parents did a fantastic job giving me everything that I ever wanted. Man, I spoil the shit out of my kid.
Yeah.
I do. And I probably shouldn't do it as much. And he appreciates everything and appreciates the value of $1 and all those things. But he's able to get to play like travel ice hockey.
Yeah.
So we're in Chicago, we're in Minnesota, we're in Detroit, we're in Canada. All in one season. And I'm like, cool. We live in the middle of the desert, right? You chose the most expensive sport. I want to play it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But I didn't miss a practice.
Right.
Didn't miss a game. And I had the ability to do that.
Sure.
There's actually a picture that I posted a while back on my Instagram. And it was me on the phone, and I had my phone tucked in between my shoulder and my ear. I'm on the phone getting some work done. He's at the rink, and I'm tying his skate. So his skate's between my legs. I'm tying this on the phone, and someone snapped a picture, and I'm like, man, Like, that's the truest definition of this, though. Like, it doesn't stop. But it's not going to negatively impact my life either. So, like, he's seen me, and he knows that, you know, Daddy goes to work early. You know, Daddy's in an office late at night, you know, and he sees it. And he's like, well, I just told you good night when you were in your office. And I wake up and you're in your office. And I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah, I'm always working.
Sure.
You know, but he's been afforded a lot of cool opportunities for that. You know, and of course, I have to teach him that, you know, money doesn't take care of everything. Money doesn't buy happiness.
Right.
And we had that conversation, and his response to me, you guys will love this. Well, it doesn't buy happiness, but I'd rather cry in a matte black Ferrari than a Prius. Touche, kid.
Touche.
I was tell you that, man.
Yeah.
Like,
So, from father to father, was the 18-month sacrifice, right? Because that's what you were doing. Hustling.
Yep.
Right. His first 18 months, and your relationship as it is now, at 12 years old. He just turned 12. Right.
a couple days ago.
Right. In your mind, when you're having that self-dialogue, that inner narrative, was it worth it?
100%.
Okay.
It was. You know, and I hope he thinks that later in life too. Obviously, he's not going to remember the first 18 months of his life, right?
Yeah.
But to know, and if I can impart that, you know, when it's his time to become a father as well, like, hey, you're going to make some sacrifices. And you're going to make some sacrifices for your family and for your kids.
Right.
And these things, at the end of the day, you're going to make them.
Right.
But it's your job to make sure those sacrifices are worth it.
There you go.
Right, and that's the thing, because you're going to have to make them no matter what. But if you make them and it's not worth it, you know, if we made it and I'm still not at a point to where he can live comfortably, or he's kind of like, well, you know, even now, if it was like, hey, you know, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, and there's no payout for them at the end of the day, that's not fair.
Right.
Sure.
Right. So it's important to me that there is a payout to that, and you know, is that a driving factor in my mind on a daily basis? Yeah, I mean, I want to take care of my son. Like, I want to make sure. And I told him the other day, we had a conversation a while back. He comes into my office, you know, late at night, I tell him good night. I tell him, have a seat. And he sits down on the other side of my desk like, oh, man, am I in trouble? I'm like, have a seat. Step into my office, have a seat. And he's kind of like, oh, man. And I'm like, can I get you a glass of scotch? And he's like, no. I'm like, suit yourself, kid. So he sits down, and I said, hey, at the end of the day, you know, I want to ensure that your kids want for nothing. You know, so obviously a financial legacy is cool, right?
Sure.
But, you know, what else am I going to leave, you know, is truly the bigger picture of things, because money's a fun game.
Yeah.
You know, it comes and goes. You win the game, right? And it's kind of like, at some point when you amass enough money, how much more do you need?
Sure.
You know, I want you and your kids to be taken care of.
Right.
You know, once that's in place, it's kind of like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
What else can I leave? What long-standing legacy can I leave? You know, whether it's a business venture, how I can, you know, positively impact the world, you know, whatever it might be. What is my legacy?
Yeah.
You know, and kind of finding that purpose, you know, and making some sort of change, you know, worldwide. And that's a pretty big thing.
Yeah. My wife does a lot of high-end events, fundraisers and charity galas and stuff like that. And we were sitting in the room at one of her last events, and I was thinking to myself, and Jeff and I had this conversation, that a lot of the people in this room have this expectation of wealth.
Sure.
Right? They were born into affluence, like Jeff had talked about at the beginning of the conversation. You don't come from that, right? What are you teaching your son about money?
Yeah. So like I said, I didn't come from that. I was an Air Force brat. You know, my parents, you know, like I said, enlisted, you know, straight out of high school.
Yeah.
Dates
at the dry cleaners, right?
Yeah, not even the dry cleaner. That's high class. We don't go there. It was the laundromat. Right, the laundromat. You know, they would go shop at the grocery store and envision all the things they couldn't have.
Right.
You know, they wanted to splurge, and it was on some shitty steak.
Yeah. So
and it was kind of like, you know, so they learned. And then my dad, you know, obviously, you know, was promoted and commissioned and things, and then became the person who managed millions and billions of dollars even with the Air Force, you know, managing the budgets of the hospital. You know, so obviously he has that innate ability.
Right.
You know, my parents are amazing. you would look at them and they're the millionaire next door, right?
Yeah.
Like you would
Humble.
never know. I've had to like beat my dad over the head. I'm like, Dad, those jeans are 10 years old. You got them at Costco. Yeah, but they were only $19.99. I'm like, "Gee, I know, Dad, but come on, like let's get you a pair of jeans that fit. I'll buy them for you. You can't spend that much money on a pair. I'm like, they're $40, Dad. Chill out. Why? But I like these ones. And I'm like, you don't like those. Do you like them because you have them? I'm like, stop it, right? But they were never the ones that were flashy and this and that.
Yeah.
It's like, and so I think that was, really instilled in me. Yes, I like having nice things and I like, being able to do that. But, as far as what I've taught my son with that is, nothing in life's going to be handed to you. Like, that's what I told him. Like, my job in life is to make sure that you don't grow up to be an asshole.
There you go. Okay.
I'm like, that's my job, right? But like, he comes and he works at, canine games with me. He goes out and changes water buckets and cleans up dog shit and whatever he needs to do.
Yeah.
But he has money. I'm like, boom, here you go. Cheapest labor in the world, too. I'm like, $20 a day. How's that sound for you? But we sat and talked, I guess it was probably 6 months ago. And I'm like, hey, what is your goal for next year? So it would have been this 2019.
Yeah.
Well, I want to save $1,000. Okay. So how are we going to work this backwards? And this is what I do with a lot of my clients, and this is what I do with my teams in Orange Theory is, okay, here's our goal. Now let's start to work it backwards, right? So $1,000, okay, well, there's 12 months in a year, so how much money do we need to make every month, to achieve that? Okay, well, if you're working every weekend, how does that look for you? The kid has like $6,000 saved in his account
That's
now.
awesome.
At 12 years old. I'm like, he's never going to touch that shit. But I'm like, oh, you want to buy an Xbox thing? Whatever. But he definitely learns the value of a dollar and of hard work and things like that. I remember even vividly now growing up, this was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And my parents would spend, $40 on a pair of shoes for me. And it was kind of like, okay. And they worked hard and it's $40 and that was it. Well, but, I started getting those 7th, 8th grade and I was kind of like, okay, getting into high school and I'm like, well, I want these pair of Nikes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, well, those pair of Nikes are $80. And I remember that. And they were like, it's $80. So we'll buy you your left one.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
like, damn. Right? Well, I can't have just one.
Right.
So it's like, okay, so you have to spend birthday money or, money that you saved or whatever. And it's kind of like, how important are those $80 shoes to you? And again, I'm talking about, now, present day, my dad's like, these are $20 Costco pants. I'm like, can you knock that shit off? I'm like, stop it.
Yeah.
And, but that's his mindset to this day. Like, he doesn't care. Like, I don't care. These pair of pants are comfortable for me. I'm dressed.
They do
It's
the
fine.
job. Yeah.
But in my brain, I was, of course, I was like, I want these shoes. They're $80.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hey, you got to go take $40 out of the bank, and they were the ones that said, okay, you're going. It's not, hey, we'll put it on, mom and dad's card, and we'll take money out. Like, we want you to physically walk in the bank. You are going to fill out a withdrawal slip. You are going to receive $40 in cash. I'm sure they got $40 in cash for themselves at that point too. And we walked into the shoe store, and it was like, I want those. And truly to this day, like that still sits in my brain that I bought my right shoe then.
Yeah.
And, that's what I try to instill in him too is like, hey, man, like there's a budget for everything. If you want things above and beyond that budget, you have to anticipate and put in the work to get to that point.
Yeah.
Whether it's financial means or personal benefit or personal gain, here's where it is. You want to break through that ceiling,
yeah,
you got to work. So he gets it, I think.
Sure.
I guess only time will tell.
Yeah.
But for now, I think he's working hard to do that.
That's awesome. Did you always have an abundance mindset, or did you ever like focus in scarcity coming up?
I'm sure at some point there was a scarcity mindset, and I won't say I've wiped that from my brain, but I do believe that a lot of law of attraction stuff too. You put it all out there, and you have the thought process, and that's part of the meditations on a daily basis. That abundance mindset.
Yeah.
Really, really embracing that, because you operate in a scarcity mindset, man. You're scared, and it's everything that could go bad will 100% go bad,
right.
Without fail. Like, I think I'm going to run out of money. Sure as shit, you will run out of money. Time will tell when, but you 100% will run out of money. So don't think like that. Like, there's a ton of freaking money out there to be had. There's a ton of success to be had. Well, I can't find the perfect partner. Or I can't find this. I need this manager. Or I need this employee. And it's like, man, you know what? I found one of my absolute favorite employees that I've ever had at Starbucks. You know, and I went to Starbucks every day, and I had my cup of coffee every morning, and she was so bubbly and so positive and so upbeat. And after about 12 months, I'm like, hey, I saw her get her ass kicked by a customer too. Over a cup of coffee, the dude was just mean and angry.
Yeah.
And she smiled and
Took
she
it with a
handled
smile.
it. Right.
Yeah.
And I had a relationship with her at that point, and he walked out, and I was kind of like, how bad you want to throw that on him? She goes, so bad. I'm like, that's a cup of hot coffee, man. That's crazy. She's like, I know. I'm like, your eyes are a little bit scary right there. And she's like, yeah, but I wanted to. And I'm like, I like you.
Yeah.
You're in. So I stole her from there. You know, but like that, like I wasn't looking for that.
Sure.
You know, but it just fell in my lap. You know, Orange Theory. I wasn't looking to get into, you know, my own business or into, you know, anything outside of the big box. And I was just kind of focused on that. And I saw it and I was like, man, this is it. Like, so yeah, I've really kind of embraced that abundance mindset. And I think anyone who has that scarcity mindset will always be in a state of losing.
Yeah, state of fear.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, because you're never going to get to where you want to be when you're so scared about losing what you have.
Right. So that catalyst for you was the overcoming that was the initial Orange Theory.
I think
investment.
so. Yeah, I really do. Like I said, it was a burn the boat sort of thing. No turning back. And it was like, I got to make this work.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I have to stay positive, and I have to, you know, and that's not to say that there's never, you know, the negative thought or anything, right?
Right.
You know, but, you know, you have to stay positive. You have to make it work. I can always find a win in this. And, you know, a lot of my emails that I end my day to my team is, you know, win the day, win the day, win the day. You know, and again, kind of going back to the compound effect, and it all wraps together, right? But you go win the day, and then you're winning the week.
Yep.
And then you're winning the month, and then you're winning the quarter. You know, whether it's fitness, whether it's a weight loss goal, whether it's, you know, business, and it's kind of like, cool, it's scary, man, to look at a giant goal like that. It's like, I want to make $1 million. Shit, that's a lot of money.
Right.
How am I going to do this? Well, that's only $83,333 a month. Oh. Well, that's only $20,000 a week. Oh. That's only $3,000 a day. Well, shit, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
I think I can do this, right? So you kind of break it down like that, and it's like, oh, this actually kind of makes sense now. This is doable for sure. Yeah.
Man. Dude, thank you so much for taking the time today, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
thank you
appreciate you,
guys.
big dog.
Yeah.
Before we let you, one last question.
Sure.
You do a lot for a lot of people. What do you do every day for you?
You know, I've really taken some time to do my morning meditations.
Okay.
I've actually found that helps to make me a lot more productive and a lot more present through the day, which is really weird because I kind of came from that whole mindset of like, you want me to sit there and close my eyes and like focus on like what? my brain doesn't really stop. So I'm like, I close my eyes and I'm thinking, okay, well, I have like 86 things to do right now.
Yeah.
I got to do this and I got to do that. Like, I can't turn my brain off. And it's like, no, you can turn your brain off. You're telling yourself you can't turn your brain off. So it's like, okay. So chill for a few minutes. So I make sure I meditate every day. And I've actually learned to block out my schedule for my 2 hours of training every day.
Okay.
I have to. Like, that is my sanity. Like I said, I suffered my injury, tore my biceps. I lost that outlet for.
How'd you tear your biceps?
Man, don't so mean. My bowling career is over.
Yeah, we did brush over that one. Huh? We did brush over that
I
one.
don't like to talk about that one.
He tried.
You know, so yeah, no, I did. You know, I tore my biceps. You know, that was rough. But yeah, I like to block out my training time. I have to, man. That's my sanity. You know, my team knows, hey, for these 2 hours, like, you're probably not gonna get a hold of me.
Right.
If it's 911, call me 3 times. You know.
Oh, sure.
You know, and my phone will ring eventually. You know, but for the most part, I'm like, I gotta go do this.
Yeah.
If I don't do this, like, you're gonna be mad. You're gonna be mad. You're gonna be mad. Like, I'm gonna be mad. So like, everybody leave me alone for 2 hours. I need to do this. So that's really what it is for me. And that's what it'll always be. Is, you know, I like the meditations and I like the trainings for sure.
Awesome.
That's dope, man. And before we let you out of here, where can everybody go follow you and support you with everything you have going, bro?
Yeah, you can check out my Facebook or my Instagram as well, just Matt KAFORA.
Dope, dude.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you, big dog.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you guys.
Dope, man.
Much appreciated, brother.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thank you. For everybody out there in our tribe, jump on social media and support everything that Matt has going on. And if you're in that rut for growth and you need help scaling, you now have a resource in Matt. So
absolutely.
Really appreciate you being here.
Appreciate
man.
you guys. Thank you.
Appreciate you, big dog.
Appreciate
Thanks, dude. Until next time, guys. Feed me, fuel me.